3 of these shelters are special needs shelters, and 3 of the shelters are pet-friendly, county-wide. Again, in St. Pete, John Hopkins and Gibbs High School. And if you're outside of St. Pete, Lellman Innovation, Dunedin Middle, Palm Harbor University High, and Largo High. A list of all open shelters is available on the county's website at disaster.pinellas.gov. And as a reminder, the County Information Center line is open. That phone number is 727-464-4333. If you need assistance getting to the shelters, please use that number. Residents requesting special needs assistance can also call that number, again, 464-4333. Also, PSTA is running free rides to the shelters for anyone who needs transportation. Again, there is no reason to stay home if you need to evacuate. Please listen to the mandatory evacuation orders. As we head into the storm, please remember to limit water usage today. Washing clothes with the dishwasher, please do that today and refrain from using those items tomorrow. This is a significant storm. We ask you to take it seriously and take all the necessary precautions, and we'll move through this with everyone being safe. And now I'll turn it over to Yolanda for Spanish translation.
Thank you, Mayor. La ciudad de St. Petersburg sigue las preparaciones para la tormenta Helene. Esperamos sentir los impactos comenzando esta noche con los mayores impactos mañana. Por favor, preste atención a todas las órdenes de evacuación. Si usted es un residente de la zona A, ahora es el momento de evacuar. El pronóstico actual prevé una marejada ciclónica más alta de la que Tampa Bay ha tenido en la historia reciente, de 5 a 8 pies de agua. Si usted vive en una área que se ha inundado en el pasado, es probable que vea el agua otra vez en las calles. Considere la posibilidad de quedarse con un amigo o miembro de la familia que está un poco más hacia el interior de la ciudad. Y para aquellos que evacúen, les recomendamos a desconectar la electricidad principal antes de salir de la casa. Esto ayudará a prevenir incendios domésticos cuando vuelva la electricidad. El condado ha abierto 6 refugios, 2 de los cuales están en la ciudad de St. Petersburg, John Hopkins Middle School para las personas con necesidades especiales y Gibbs High, que acepta mascotas. La línea del Centro de Información del Condado está abierta si necesita alguna ayuda. 727-464-4333 es ese número. Si necesita ayuda para llegar a los refugios, por favor, utilice ese número. Y los residentes con necesidades especiales que necesitan ayuda también pueden llamar a ese número. Además, PSTA ofrece paseos gratis a los refugios para cualquier persona que lo necesite. A medida que nos acercamos a la tormenta, termine de lavar la ropa y las cosas por estilo hoy. Por favor, recuerde limitar el uso de agua mañana hasta después que pase la tormenta. Esta es una tormenta grande. Por favor, tómelo en serio y prepárese.
Thank you, Yolanda. Now we'll ask our Emergency Management Manager, Amber Boulding, to give us some information. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. I'd really like to take a minute today to focus on storm surge and the threat that we're talking about with this storm. And when I talk about storm surge, I just want it to be clear what that storm surge is. So we're talking about the water out in the Gulf of Mexico that's being pushed in from this storm. The winds are pushing in water to our coastline, and it goes up into Tampa Bay, and that's the water that we're talking about. So I just want to make sure, when we talk storm surge, it's that coastal flooding that's coming in. It's not from the rain or things like that. Please don't write off the impacts from the storm because we see on the maps, it looks so far away, right? This is not a Tampa Bay storm. It's a, panhandle storm. That is not the case with this storm. It is a very large storm. If you look at it on the satellite, it's, 200, 250 miles east from the center of the eye of Helene. That's a really large storm, and it's a very fast-moving storm when it comes by Tampa Bay. So it really couples together to really create that wall of water and that storm surge. That's why our forecast is so high when we look at the 5 to 8 feet. It's easy to look at that and say, well, I've been through Idalia. I went through Ada. It was bad. It wasn't that bad. No 2 storms are alike. So please take this storm seriously. Understand the impacts from that storm. Don't just focus on the cone. We are outside of the cone. The cone is simply where the eye of that storm is likely to travel. Impacts, again, are well to the east of that storm, and we are well within the path of the surge. So please, please, please take that seriously. A note on Hurricane Idalia last year. No two storms are the same, but we can always learn from those storms. If your house flooded during Idalia, or you were close to flooding during Idalia, this is a storm that you have to watch. We have higher storm surge expected. To give you an idea, with Hurricane Idalia, we saw just under 4 feet of storm surge. We're expecting 5 to 8. All right, so just to put it into perspective for you, if you flooded during Idalia, you have to watch this storm. Everyone in a level A is being ordered to evacuate. Everyone should go, but especially if you flooded during those other times, you must take this serious. During Hurricane Idalia last year, we did over 70 water rescues in areas that were ordered to evacuate. We don't want to have to do that. That's for your safety of you and your family, and it's for the safety of our responders who are having to go out in these conditions to help bring people in. And also, there could be a point in time where we can't come out to get you when you call 911. We're expecting tropical storm conditions here in the Bay Area. When winds reach a certain miles per hour range, we can't safely come out anymore. So there could be an opportunity or a point in time when you call 911 and we can't respond. We'll have to wait till those winds come down. So again, learn from what we've seen in the past. If you're ordered to evacuate, please go. We're not asking you to leave the county, the city, or the state. As Mayor mentioned, we just need you to get to higher ground, whether that's with a family or a friend that lives outside of the evacuation area, whether that's at a hotel, or as Mayor mentioned, we have shelters in the area, whether it's to a shelter for the night until that water goes back down on Friday. So please, again, heed the warning. We understand it's frustrating. The best information that we have is the information that the National Hurricane Center gives us, and right now that is 5 to 8 feet, which exceeds what we saw last year during Idalia again. So, thank you.
Thank you, Em. That concludes our update. Are there any questions?
You already stressed the importance of asking people to evacuate from these areas. What are some of the areas that are typically experienced by such as a short answer? People who are living there, you would talk directly to them, what do you want to say?
Well, we've had many conversations with folks in those low-lying areas over my term and before that. They need to take this one seriously. And, part of the compact of living in Florida is being ready to evacuate if you live in one of those low-lying areas and a storm is approaching. As Amber said, this is probably going to have more impact than Idalia did. And so folks need to listen. Today is the day to go ahead and make those moves onto higher ground.
Can you touch on just how much rain we've seen? We've talked about it over the past month or two. The ground is so saturated already, concern going into this storm.
It is a concern. I was happy to see Claude Tankersley come in. So Claude, I'm going to come and ask you to talk about saturation. It's something that we keep a close watch on, but 5 to 8 feet of surge really answers that question for you. Come on, Claude.
Thank you, Mayor. Claude Tankersley, Public Works Administrator. So yes, when we get a lot of rain, our ground becomes saturated. There's two ways for rainwater to go away. One is to be percolate into the ground, and the other is to run off. When there's no more ground to percolate into, then all of that water runs off. And we do know that our grounds are still saturated from all the rain we've received. Thank
Any
you.
other questions? I did want to acknowledge our county, city team. That's the first time I've done that in a long time. But Ed Montanari, council member, is here. Jeff Baker from Duke, as part of our executive policy group. Thank you for being here. And also Nikki Gaskin, Capar from Urban League. Thank you for being here. Other questions?
Mayor, I had a question. In
Yes.
terms of recovery, how can we as nonprofit leaders help with the disaster recovery piece and maybe some of the recovery centers? I know that Enoch Davis has been one in the past. Let us know how we can help.
We'll do that, and I'll ask our chief of staff to connect with you on that. Thank you.
How do you evacuate the marina? Does law enforcement go out there and make people leave? How does that work?
I'm going to ask our city development administrator, James Corbett, to speak to that.
Good morning, James Corbett, City Development Administrator. As our marina is in the evacuation zone A, we will notify everyone at the marina that they are ordered to evacuate. We will make contact with everyone. Because for safety reasons in a storm surge, we have to cut power to the marina, but we do not force individuals to leave the marina. It is obviously in their best interest, and as Amber mentioned, for their safety and the safety of our first responders, that they evacuate, but we do not forcibly require anyone to remove themselves from the marina.
And also, I know the high-rise cranes are on, windmill mode or the.
Weather vane mode.
Weather vane mode, yeah, I like that term. How do we ensure that that's taken care of?
So our building inspectors yesterday and today are going around to all of our sites to ensure that there are no windblown debris issues, as well as ensuring that the cranes are placed in weather vane mode. And basically what that means is it allows the crane to move with the wind as opposed to resist the wind. So if you see a crane spinning in the wind, it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Sorry to keep asking questions. Can anyone tell me what the process is for ensuring that our homeless residents have a place to go?
I know we've been working with, come on up, Rob. Amy Foster is probably in the field working on that right now. Rob Gertis, our administrator.
Good morning, Rob Gertis, City Administrator. First of all, I just want to say to all the residents of St. Petersburg that we hear your concerns. Over the last 5 years or so, we've had multiple flood events that have impacted safety and property, and we understand your concerns, and we're here to support you, and we're working diligently to help you, and we want you to know that. Related to our unhoused population, we've had our social service teams out, our PATH police officer teams out, notifying them of shelter capacity. Our transportation department has worked with PSTA to ensure safe and free rides for the unhoused to shelter. So we're working on that aggressively. We don't want anybody to be left out in the storm.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you all so much.